Your kitchen is meant to be the heart of nourishment and health, a place where wholesome meals are prepared. But for those over 60, it's especially important to ensure this space supports your long-term well-being. Hidden in plain sight, among your trusted pots, containers, and pantry items, could be everyday objects that pose a quiet risk. Aging materials and older products may release harmful substances, with some research linking long-term exposure to serious health concerns, including cancer. This isn't about causing alarm. It's about making informed and simple choices for a safer home. In this video, we will highlight specific kitchen items you might consider removing. Each represents a practical step you can take today to safeguard your well-being, ensuring your kitchen remains a true sanctuary of health and nourishment for years to come. Before we continue, we're building an amazing community here, and I'd love to know who's watching. Drop a comment below and tell me where you're from, along with one interesting fact about your city. We read and reply to every single comment, so don't be shy. Share yours below. Now, without further delay, let's get started. That lightweight, easy clean nonstick pan has likely been a faithful companion for years. It makes cooking eggs a breeze and ensures your fish fillets don't leave a lasting memory on your cookware. However, the very convenience of nonstick surfaces comes with a caveat that becomes critically important with age and use. The coating that provides that slick surface is durable, but it is not indestructible. Over time, the scratches from metal utensils, the scouring of abrasive pads, and the simple wear and tear of daily cooking create a landscape of tiny grooves and gashes. It is in these damaged areas that the risk lies. When the surface is compromised, two things happen. First, tiny flakes of the coating can begin to chip off directly into your food. While accidentally eating a small flake once is not a catastrophe, consistently consuming these particles over years is an unwanted addition to your diet that your body simply does not need. Secondly, and more significantly, a damaged nonstick coating is far more vulnerable to heat damage. Even high-quality nonstick surfaces are designed to be used over medium heat. When a pan is overheated, something that happens easily if left empty on a burner or used for high-heat searing, the coating can begin to break down chemically. This breakdown releases fumes and gases into the air. Inhaling these fumes, a condition sometimes called polymer fume fever, can cause temporary flu-like symptoms in humans and is known to be fatal to birds. The long-term concern, however, is the steady, low-level exposure to the chemicals released from a scratched pan that is regularly heated. Think of a pan with a deep scratch in the center. Every time you use it, that damaged spot is the weakest link, subjected to direct heat and stress, making it more likely to degrade and release substances you'd rather avoid. The solution is not to panic, but to practice mindful inspection and replacement. Take a good look at your nonstick pans today. Hold them under a bright light and look for a web of fine scratches, any areas where the color has changed, or most importantly, any spots where the coating is visibly peeling or flaking. If you see anything more than the faintest, most superficial hairline marks, it's time to retire that pan. A good rule of thumb is this: if you can feel the scratch with your fingernail, it's too deep. For your next purchase, consider alternatives like well-seasoned cast iron, high-quality stainless steel, or ceramic-coated cookware, which offer cooking performance without the same concerns. When you do use nonstick, preserve its life by using only silicone, wood, or nylon utensils, avoiding metal entirely. Never preheat an empty pan, and stick to low or medium heat settings. We all have them, the collection of plastic tubs and bowls in the cabinet, some perhaps as old as your children's first packed lunches. They are practical, lightweight, and seem endlessly reusable. But plastic, like all materials, has a lifespan. its safety is intrinsically linked to its condition. A brand new high-quality container designed for food storage is generally safe for its intended use. However, plastic does not age gracefully. Over years of washing, heating, and storing various foods, it undergoes slow but steady degradation. Look closely at your oldest containers. Do they have a permanent cloudiness or stains that won't wash out, especially from tomato sauce or curries? Are there fine cracks along the sides or on the lid? Has the shape warped so the lid no longer fits snugly? Each of these signs is a red flag. Staining and cloudiness indicate that the plastic has become porous, absorbing fats and colors from food. Cracks and warping are signs of physical breakdown from repeated temperature changes, like going from the freezer to the microwave. Why does this physical state matter so much? Damaged plastic is structurally weaker and more likely to leach its chemical components into the food it holds. This is especially true when heat is applied. Using an old cracked container to reheat leftovers in the microwave is one of the riskiest kitchen habits. The microwave's energy agitates food and liquid molecules, creating heat, but it also agitates the weakened plastic container itself. This process can dramatically accelerate the transfer of chemicals from the container into your meal. You might not taste or see anything different, but you are essentially adding an unintended ingredient to your food. Furthermore, old plastics may have been manufactured before modern safety standards phased out certain concerning chemicals. Even if the container was originally microwave safe, that safety guarantee expires when the container becomes visibly worn. Clearing out this clutter is a powerful step toward a safer kitchen. Start by emptying that cabinet and conducting a thorough review. Toss any container without a matching lid, a sign it's too old anyway. Immediately recycle any that are stained, warped, cracked, or have a lingering odor. For the keepers, a simple rule. If you wouldn't feel safe drinking water from it, don't store your food in it. For safer storage and reheating, make a shift to more stable materials. Glass containers with locking lids are an excellent investment. They don't stain, warp, or absorb odors, and they can go seamlessly from the refrigerator to the microwave to the dinner table without any concern about chemical migration. Stainless steel containers are great for dry goods or cold storage. If you prefer some lightweight plastic for certain uses like sending food with grandchildren, buy new high-quality BPA-free containers. Commit to hand washing them gently and retire them at the first sign of wear. There's a certain charm to older dishware. That hand-painted mug from a long-ago vacation, the colorful plate set you received as a wedding gift decades ago, or the inherited pottery bowl with its rustic glaze. These pieces hold stories. However, when it comes to items used for eating and drinking, their age and origin can pose a hidden problem, particularly if they were made before around 2005. The issue lies not in the clay itself, but in the glossy decorative finish, the glaze. To create vibrant colors and that glass-like waterproof coating, glazes historically contained heavy metals like lead and cadmium. These metals are excellent for creating bright reds, yellows, and oranges, and for making glazes melt smoothly at high temperatures. For many years, their use in dishware was common and poorly regulated. Lead, especially, is a potent toxin that can leach from the glaze into food and drink, particularly when the glaze is damaged or when it comes into contact with acidic substances. Why is this a particular concern now? As dishware ages, the glaze can develop a network of tiny, invisible cracks called crazing. You might see this as a spiderweb pattern on the surface. This cracking dramatically increases the surface area from which lead can seep. Furthermore, acidic foods and drinks, think tomato sauce, coffee, citrus fruits, vinegar-based salads, or wine, actively pull lead out of the glaze and into what you're about to consume. A beloved chipped mug used for morning coffee, or an ornate, cracked platter used for serving fruit salad becomes a direct source of exposure. The body stores lead over time, and there is no safe level of exposure. For adults, long-term ingestion is linked to serious health issues, including high blood pressure, kidney problems, and neurological decline. The good news is that regulations, both in the US and internationally, tightened significantly in the early 2000s. Dishware manufactured after this period, especially from reputable brands, is subject to strict testing for lead and cadmium release. It's time for a thoughtful audit of your cupboards. Be especially wary of handcrafted pottery from studios or foreign markets, very old heirlooms, and brightly decorated dishes made before 2005. You can purchase affordable lead testing kits at hardware stores. Simply swab the surface, particularly in worn areas or on the rim where your mouth touches, and see if the swab changes color. If a piece tests positive, or if you are at all unsure, relegate it to a decorative purpose only. Hold pens, display on a shelf, or plant a succulent in it. Do not use it for food. For your daily meals, invest in a simple modern set of dishware from a trusted manufacturer. Look for labels that say lead-free or are compliant with California's Proposition 65, which has strict standards. Plain white ceramic or porcelain Corelle is often a very safe bet. You don't have to get rid of all your sentimental pieces, but you must be smart about their use. In a lifelong pursuit of health, many of us have turned to diet or sugar-free alternatives. The kitchen cabinet might hold half-empty boxes of sweetener packets from years past, dusty cans of diet drink mixes, or forgotten light desserts and gelatin boxes. The intention was good, to reduce sugar intake. However, these products have a shelf life, and the artificial sweeteners within them, such as aspartame, saccharin, or sucralose, can degrade over time, especially when exposed to heat or moisture in a humid kitchen. An old clumped sweetener packet or a discolored drink mix is showing you visible signs of chemical breakdown. Furthermore, scientific understanding of these substances evolves. While regulatory bodies set acceptable daily intake levels, ongoing research continues to examine the long-term effects of consistent consumption, with some studies suggesting potential links to altered gut bacteria and other metabolic concerns that are best avoided as we age. The danger here is one of outdated stock and habit. You might be diligently using a pink or yellow packet in your tea every morning, unaware that the box has been in your drawer since your last doctor's appointment several years ago. Or you might reach for that old can of cocoa mix for an occasional treat, not thinking about its age. The sweeteners in these aged products may not only have broken down into other compounds, but the products themselves often contain a cocktail of other artificial colors, flavors, and preservatives to mimic the real thing. Consuming these old, degraded chemicals offers no nutritional benefit and introduces substances your body must process, potentially taxing your system over time. It's the very definition of an empty and potentially risky habit. It's time for a clean sweep. Open every cabinet and drawer. Pull out every product labeled sugar-free, diet, zero-calorie, or light that isn't a very recent purchase. Check expiration dates meticulously, but know that even if it's not expired, if it's old and has been stored in a warm place, it's suspect. gather them all and recycle or throw them away. This act is incredibly liberating. Now for the future, consider a shift in philosophy. Instead of relying on artificial chemicals to satisfy a sweet tooth, explore naturally sweet alternatives that provide other benefits. A drizzle of pure honey or real maple syrup in your oatmeal offers antioxidants. Mashed ripe banana can sweeten baked goods and add potassium. A sprinkle of cinnamon or a drop of vanilla extract can enhance the perception of sweetness without adding sugar or chemicals. If you must use a sweetener, choose a minimal recognizable product like stevia leaf extract in moderation and buy it fresh in small quantities, storing it in a cool, dark place. There's a common misconception in many kitchens that a well-used grill pan, baking sheet, or roasting dish with a dark seasoned layer of burnt-on residue is a sign of experience and flavor. We might think, that's just flavor building up. Unfortunately, this couldn't be further from the truth for our health. That black, crusty carbonized layer is not seasoning like on a cast iron skillet. It is a buildup of burnt food fats and oils that have polymerized, turned into a hard, plastic-like coating. Every time you use that pan or tool again, you reheat this toxic crust. As it heats, it doesn't just sit there. It breaks down further, releasing acrid smoke and tiny harmful particles into the air you breathe and onto the surface of your fresh food. This smoke contains polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, PAHs, which are well-established carcinogens formed when organic matter burns. Inhaling this smoke during cooking or consuming food that has touched this charred layer is a direct route of exposure. Consider your grill tools. A wire bristle barbecue brush with char welded between its wires, or a spatula with a permanent black crust along its edge, is constantly reintroducing that burnt matter to your food. A baking sheet that has turned a permanent matte black from years of roasted vegetables is no longer a safe cooking surface. It's a platform for recreating those harmful compounds with every use. The high direct heat of grilling or broiling exacerbates this problem. That enticing grill mark can easily tip over into dangerous charring, and tools caked in old char only make it worse by transferring the residue from last week's cookout onto tonight's chicken. Your kitchen needs a clean slate intervention. Examine your cookware and tools with a critical eye. For baking sheets and grill pans, if the surface is non-stick and is discolored or has burnt-on spots that won't come off with gentle scrubbing, it's time to replace it. For stainless steel or aluminum pans with permanent stained-on carbon, you can attempt a deep clean with a paste of baking soda and vinegar. But if the blackness remains, recycle them. Never use wire brushes on nonstick surfaces as they scratch them. For grill tools, if they are metal and the char is severe, soak them in a degreaser and scrub aggressively with a steel wool pad. If the gunk remains, it's safer to buy new ones. They are an inexpensive investment in your health. Going forward, make cleaning a non-negotiable priority. Clean your grill grates and tools thoroughly while they are still warm, but not hot after each use. Line baking sheets with parchment paper, or use a clean silicone mat to prevent direct contact and make cleanup effortless. Taking these steps is not an admission that your kitchen was unsafe, but a celebration of your commitment to making it safer. Each item you remove represents a conscious choice to prioritize your long-term well-being. You are clearing out not just physical clutter, but potential sources of harm, creating a space that fully supports your health. This process doesn't require a full kitchen remodel or a large budget. It requires awareness and the willingness to make simple swaps.